Brought to you by Lister Pros TV, streaming from Tempe, Arizona. And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, Jordan Nielsen here, host of Real Estate Pros on Lister Pros TV. Today we're in our Tempe studio with Chris Tiller of Restless Sotheby's.
Good morning, sir.
Thanks
How are
for
you? Yeah, good to see you again.
joining me this morning. So
My third time now.
Third time,
Yeah,
veteran,
years.
Real Estate Pros veteran. So thanks for coming back again.
Yeah,
I didn't
thanks for
scare
having
you
me.
off after
No.
first two tries. So
Nope, all good.
thought we'd have you in here and we can talk about all things real estate.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about today?
And first off, we can talk about how consistent. So, like, I've known Chris. How long has it been? 4 or 5 years now. It seems like
At least when you
you've been
started.
around. So I started like at the very end of 2013. So I think 2014 was probably about
Yeah,
14
right
or 15.
Then. It was
It's
you
very
and
early.
Was it Brandon? What was his guy's name? The guy's name. Original guy was doing drones for you.
Yeah, Brandon.
Brandon, long
yeah,
time. Yeah, it was just you two. I'd see
On
you
the
actually
drones.
with a
You
camera
probably
in your
saw
hand.
me. Yeah, you saw me with the camera. I don't touch them very
I know,
often. I
right?
still like to get out there. I'm going to be doing a car event on Friday, so
Cool,
I didn't
yeah.
touch it. So I do like different things. But yeah, you probably were. No, I think I do remember shooting that horse property.
Oh, yeah.
Drone
Uh-huh.
video, and I think that those are the times when the drones didn't tell you how much battery life was left. I'd bring
Dude,
like
switch
10
me.
batteries.
You had a box, right?
You have the drone that is designed to fly for like 15 minutes
Mhm.
on these brick batteries.
Super heavy.
Super heavy. So
inconvenient,
you add the gimbal, you add the camera, it just like weighs it down. You can only just start to see the drone start to fade. I'm like, all right, I better bring it in.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of times where I'm shooting on like a hill property back in
yeah.
the day, and you don't know. The drone is just fading down the hill, and you're full throttle trying to get it to come back up, and it's just not.
A lot's changed, huh?
Yes, drones are smaller, better, but anyways,
Yeah.
appreciate you as a customer, and
Always, you guys do great work. So I'll keep using you.
sticking with us. So let's talk Restless Sotheby's.
Yeah.
Like it seems like I talked to a lot of agents. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm at this place now. I need to update my logo this way." But
Yeah,
you've been
headshots.
you've been with Restless Sotheby's since I've known you.
Yeah,
at least.
so 8 or 9 years straight. Yeah, and that's pretty typical for our brokerage. Actually, we have some old school. Yeah, I mean, you go up north to our Pinnacle Peak office, and people have been there for decades.
Really?
It's pretty consistent. Yeah.
So Restless Sotheby's kind of has a, I mean, how I look at it, it's got the luxury brand, or how, what is it that has kept you attracted to the Restless Sotheby's brokerage?
Just the agents that are there are so seasoned, and the turnover's so low. The consistency is a real big thing for me. So I have a loyalty to them. They've always been great to me. Yeah, that's really the main thing. I did jump around early in my career quite a bit trying to find where I fit, and that's just kind of where I fit in. Yeah, I mean they say it's luxury focused, and I mean they definitely have a higher price point. But I'm Southeast Valley, so my price point's no different than any other agent in the Southeast. So Gilbert, Chandler, Mesa, Tempe, some.
You're a
of the
Tesla driver as well. Sorry, this is off the top.
No.
Do you still drive Tesla?
I still got it. Yeah,
Still drive
got the
Tesla? You gonna get
yeah.
the Tesla Roadster? I mean,
Have you seen the specs on that?
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I
No.
mean, electric is the future. Of,
Absolutely.
Once they figure out the heating up and all that, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's amazing that they don't have
Instant
more
torque.
already. Yeah, it'll get there.
But I think it's kind of pushed the combustion engine vehicles to up their specs faster.
Have to. And then made the oil prices come down so people aren't as incentivized to go get electric.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's going on with you, man? We always talk about my world, and then a bunch of real estate agents listen to my world. What's going on with you?
It's always, for me now, it's just business. I get out and shoot occasionally, not too often. I think I did shoot a couple houses last week, so I still like to stay connected with the customers, and I think this platform allows me to do that. So
Yeah, definitely.
After a while, if I'm in front of my computer or just managing the people, I'm like, man, I miss the customer interaction. Let's do some more real estate pros. So I think we're on I think this is around episode 180. So
that's pretty good.
It gives just to keep a pulse on real estate, because I obviously still have a lot of passion around real estate. I've been licensed for a while, even though I'm not really active. I am active, but I'm not active in the real estate community. So it's nice to see, what's working out in the real estate marketplace, and also like the trends, because it seems like the trends are changing quickly, from year to year. You're seeing different things just out in the marketplace from a consumer, just driving around. You're seeing all these different billboards of, I don't know if I would call them like anti-agent billboards. There's definitely certain verbiages on them. You're like, all right.
Yeah, like the homies, they're kind of pushing that model.
Yeah. So the homies, they have like, they have slogans that are kind of
like how outdated the original model is, or so to speak.
Exactly. So be up to speed. But there's definitely a lot of changes, and obviously a lot of changes when it comes to the leaderboard of how business is done, because that was one thing that I really focused on. And that was how I brought a lot of value to people, because I would kind of put out ranking reports and see, like, for the first few years of Lister Pros, I would see the same agents that were like, man, these guys are very established and
consistent.
do it.
Absolutely.
And then probably over the last 4 years, there's been a lot of movement that I've noticed. Just because of all the changes in the marketplace, the different options that buyers and sellers have, and kind of, new ways to communicate with people. Social media has kind of become a good platform for a lot of agents to communicate with their sphere of influence and people. But anyways, I'll ask you, what are you seeing out there in 2019?
I mean, the iBuyer thing is just kind of top of mind for everybody. The open doors and offer pads, it just seems to be what a lot of people are talking about. And then just based on your business model is going to really determine if that's some form of a competition for you. So depending on how you structure your lead source, I guess you'd say, is really going to determine if that is going to come into your world at all. I'm majority referral. So my education piece to my sphere of influence, they understand the value that I bring. And so those types of options for them don't really become of interest. So even, the what a lot of them spin is just the kind of essentially the quick exit. You get to kind of pick your close date, they pay for moving expenses, the easy type process, the trade-in value of your car at a dealership is really what it is. You're kind of trading time for money kind of thing. So, just educating my sphere of influence on, if that's an option, please go get a quote from them if that's what you want. And they make it really simple process to get it. And then I'll send your house out to my cash buyers, and they'll essentially offer you the same deal as far as process, but you'll just make more money. I mean, some of the horror stories about my sellers, I always encourage them to go get second opinions from not just agents, but also the iBuyers about what their net offer ends up being for just, even like a $300,000 house in Gilbert. The amount of money these people take off the top is just substantial. And a lot of sellers, it's not that they don't care. It's just that, through a market appreciation, we've kind of been lucky the last 8-9 years with market appreciation that it feels like paper money. It's not something that they've necessarily paid down on their mortgage, or, the value increase has kind of been not necessarily free money, but just a matter of circumstance, not necessarily a matter of judgment. So the convenience factor to them a lot of times seems to be worth it, and they're more than happy to do that to make the transition to their next home easier despite the cost. And they don't realize the long-term impacts of what $70,000 can cost. I mean, it's drastic. I mean, the first thing I tell people is, who do you think pays for the billboards? Where do you think television ads come from? That stuff is so expensive. I mean, it's unbelievable how much money these people are throwing in advertisements. And that money comes directly from siphoning off equity from homeowners. I mean, that's where their income comes from. And so if you just kind of back out the business model, I mean, they got a brand new gorgeous building in Chandler, their headquarters. I think it's OfferPad. I mean, it's a stunning commercial structure. Huge staff overhead, massive marketing expenses, and that's all paid for through the idea that they're going to net this much off of each owner, and people just write the check. So I'll be curious if we get either a market slowdown, market pullback, those kinds of things, how that transitions and what their profit margins look like. But it seems, if any of them go public, we'll find out very quickly. I mean, they'll start having to publish their financials, and we'll find out real quickly what their profit margins are and see where they're at. Right now it's private, so we can't see, but it'll be public soon.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a different perspective on how that I've heard from an agent explain it, kind of the trade-in value of a vehicle. And also that I think you bring up a great point about, with so much appreciation over the years, you're kind of numb to like, well, I bought it at 100, now it's worth 250. So what's $20K off of that, or 30K? You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't my money anyway, kind of thing. Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. But if there's a slowdown, you don't really necessarily, you may not have that option to be able to. So that if that money's actually coming out of your pocket because you bought at 450 and then there's a slowdown or even just a level off where it stays even to sell, there's costs involved. Are you going to be willing to take that hit? And I think probably people will be more hesitant if they're actually paying real money, because it does kind of seem like phantom money. Right. Like, oh, equity.
Yeah, wasn't you paid down.
So what's my net dollar at the end of the day? Oh, that's still a great figure.
Exactly. Compared to, everything else. Yeah,
But it sounds like you're not really anti-iBuyer. There's options for it. It may not make sense for most people, but there's, you encourage your people to get a second opinion.
Absolutely.
And kind of go out there and see and weigh their options.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, there's going to be, 10 to 15% of the market is going to love that option. They just are. And it could be particular to their circumstance. It could be a matter of convenience. Who knows what their reasoning is. But yeah, I always encourage my clients 100% to go get competing offers. I think that's the best way, is to because once they do that, if they make a decision to come back to you, we're all on the same page that I'm offering you a product that you can agree, because you went out and looked, that I'm going to do the best for you. And if we don't agree, then you've already have the options. So you can go and we can split both ways. It's business. I don't take anything personal. Right. But yeah, I mean, it's no different. Like I said, if you drive down the street and you see a car dealership, I mean, those guys make phenomenal money. I mean, their two big money sources are trade-in cars and their repair shops. I mean, that's where they get their money. It's not necessarily all from sales. And those guys aren't going out of business anytime soon, but that doesn't mean that the Craigslist resale cars are going anywhere either. So people know that trade-off, and you can look at that on the internet. I mean, you can see what your car's worth, what your trade-in value is, what your resale value is, and they're drastically different. Mm-hmm. Some people just trade it in. They like the convenience, and they're always going to be that market. To fight that or try to come up with some legal strategy to overcome Zillow buying houses or an iBuyer, you're just spinning your head on wheels. I mean, there's just no reason to do that. Focus on your business, and you should be fine. If not, then.
So I know you mentioned that it hasn't really impacted your business much because you work on referral, and people are typically, when they come off of a referral, they've probably already looked at different options out there, and they've asked somebody, hey, who do you know? And you get referred. So you mentioned it hasn't really impacted too much of your business. What type of agent models and strategies are you thinking are being more impacted by, the iBuyer strategy?
So I've always focused on a standard agent is either going to be transactional or relational. So transactional agent versus relational agent. Relational agent is going to be somebody like me. I focus on my relationships. I don't focus on the transaction, so to speak. I focus on the individual needs of the person in front of me. If I can make them happy and make them want to use me again, they're going to refer me to other people, and that's where my lead source comes in. Transactional agents focus on the transaction. How can I make this so streamlined that they're happy with the process enough to either send me somebody new or refer me out? The transaction process are your standard teams. So you have someone that puts a sign in the yard, someone that takes your pictures, someone that does your contracts, someone that shows your buyers around, a listing agent, and then you have a listing coordinator, and you have assistants, and you have the standard team model, very transactional. When you create a transactional business, that's when you become competition for an iBuyer, because an iBuyer is a transactional process. That's what it is. They come in, they value your house. It's very standard, straightforward, numbers-based. There's no real relationship. It's not like someone's going to go, I used Tim over at OfferPad. He was great. Work with him. It's the business that they're focused on. So it's transactional related to the business. So if you're focused on the transaction as a business model, then people that focus on the transaction as a business model are your competition. So that's kind of how I've separated it out. And typically, the iBuyer actually has probably helped me more than anything, because people find out very quickly whether it's for them or not. When they go run the model and they go run the numbers, They either call me and say, this sounds like a great idea, I'm going to go with it, or they find out very quickly, hey man, it sounds like I can make more money if I resale, but I don't want to deal with the process. How does that work? And then it's my job to inform them or educate them on the relationship side of what I do to make that process straightforward. Understanding their needs. Why does the iBuyer sound, important to them? So picking a close date. Perfect. Let's focus on picking a close date then. Now I can focus on your needs from a relationship standpoint. So then we know when we go to make it an offer that that's important as opposed to maybe a price. So if maybe a seller or buyer comes in and offers $300,000, but the close date isn't as important to them. Well, how about we go $298, take a couple grand off, and get you an extra month? A lot of buyers will be flexible in that respect, whereas we suffer maybe $2,000 to get you an extra month, but an iBuyer is going to let you pick your close date as well, but they might take $50,000 off the top. They may charge you $700 to replace a front door that's not broken. Mm-hmm. They have their structure to get their money, and so it's just educating them on that process. So that's really it.
So I think probably one of the biggest straws on the iBuyers is the convenience piece, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't have to deal with it. So how is it that you're marketing and how you're servicing your clients? I guess what are you seeing as far as trends in 2019 of how to sell a home and how long it's taken? Is it really that much of an inconvenience on average, or are you finding that certain price points are moving just as quick as an iBuyer? I mean, obviously iBuyer, you're picking your it's
streamline, man. It's smooth. I get it. So I've noticed that change in buyers or sellers, especially. That's a big concern for them. Time management is a big deal. So especially in the East Valley, where you have a lot of families, you have school to deal with, you have work to deal with, you have the next purchase to deal with. There's just so much on the plate that you have to manage. And from a relationship side, it's just really important to understand the motivations. And so if if it's let's just say it's school. Some kids are getting out of school at a certain date. We need to be in the house this long, or we need to be out of this house at this certain time, and then managing those needs and expectations. So it's understanding the needs up front and saying, okay, yes, I think I can sell your house for this. I think I can. I think that's what we're going to get. Here's why. This is my experience, etc. Once we've established that, if they start throwing in objections, that's great, but we need to be out of the house in 2 months. Okay, that changes things because I can't guarantee at that price that we're going to get you out in 2 months. So we need to be flexible in certain areas. So the communication with the expectation is what's important. So knowing that if an iBuyer comes in, they're going to probably take a huge chunk to be specific on their date. It's just being realistic about, listen, if we can take off maybe 5% or 3%, I know that we can maybe jump into a different buyer pool. It's going to increase the marketability of the house. More people are going to come in, and they'll be more apt to be flexible with your close date. Plus, I'm going to be able to save you money over the iBuyer. But you have to communicate that up front about the needs. It's people just throw out convenience like, oh, it's just nice to pick close date. Well, why are you specific about the close date? What's important about it? Are you relocating your job? Is it school? You have to understand the motivation and then work backwards to figure out what you're going to do with pricing. And then from there you market it. Yeah.
Right. So let's talk market trends. So in Phoenix, 2019, I think it felt like at the beginning of the year, it's 2019 is kind of uncertain. Is it going to flatten out or go down? What are you seeing so far this year?
No slowdown. I mean, you'll see a little slowdown in certain areas. It's starting to become hyper-local. So if you focus on, let's say, Arcadia versus Paradise Valley versus North Scottsdale versus downtown Gilbert versus downtown Chandler versus Queen Creek, each area is going to have its own unique trend. And so it's really, really difficult to focus on the market as a whole. I don't see any major pullback coming anytime soon. There are almost no indicators to tell us that at all. The amount of people coming in, the amount of jobs coming in, California is the best thing to happen in Arizona real estate in a long time. They keep messing up their thing over there. We just benefit even more. Now you have, and I'm a numbers guy, so I don't deal with hyperboles or feels like this. I'm a research-based guy, so it's just important to throw out true statistics that you've actually researched to understand the trends. So feeling out your conversation with one buyer about his motivations is not indicative of the market trends or even your business. So if you're closing 10 to 15 deals a month, even a team leader, you're hyper-focused on your 10 to 15 buyers. That is no indication of where the market's going at all. You got to focus on that macro end. And so, like I said, California, San Diego, and San Jose are the two biggest buyers coming in. And then you have a lot of the Chicago and Michigan retirees are moving here now too, because you have a huge amount of baby boomers that are retiring from government employees. So they're government heavy in Michigan and Detroit. Those people are retiring and realizing that they can't afford to live with the taxes that are there. They're trying to get out of the cold. So they're coming to Arizona with really, really good pensions, and they're being able to sell their house there, come here, put down huge down payments, and live very comfortably in the heat. So I don't see it slowing down. I don't, unless interest rates do something crazy. I've heard a lot of things thrown around about the flip properties and things like that. Well, we have so much flip inventory, and we have luxury flips going down in Arcadia, and we have. No one feels bad for an investor who flipped a house for $1 million in Arcadia, who might go into foreclosure, which means it goes back to a hard money lender who has to offload it for $700,000 instead of selling it for $1 million. That in no way is going to impact the $500,000 entry-level buyer into Arcadia. No one cares about a top-down crumble. Nobody. If a $1 million house sits for 6 months instead of 3 or a year or 2 years, that's just not going to have a trickle-down impact to somebody entry-level. It's not. It's a pyramid. If the top of the pyramid falls off, no one cares. In 2008, when the bottom fell on, then the whole pyramid comes down, and that's how you get the crumble. That's what a bubble is. But when the top falls off, it just means that rich people who have multiple businesses lose an asset, and that's all it is. It's no different than any other business. It's a
So is that some headlines that are out there right now? Like, oh, we're having trouble moving our Arcadia flip, or, you know.
No one cares.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad at your 12% interest only loan that you got, and it's one of 4 projects and one business that you operate on a day-to-day basis. You call it an asset. No one else cares about that. We're not dealing with, market crashes because over-leveraged bartenders bought 4 houses in Surprise on a stated income loan. That's just not happening anymore, and that's where you get the market trends and everything falls out. Yeah.
Sorry,
dude, I talk fast.
I know you're not like a forecaster or some people are like, because I've talked to some people and they're like, oh, I'm gonna wait to deploy some money once the pullback happens. I'm like what? I see this, but I don't see it.
I love that one. That's a good one.
Well, I think people think that there's going to be another 2008
right.
on the horizon or something because of all the appreciation.
Yeah.
But I think you got to look at what actually transpired in 2008. Like you said, like somebody on stated income with, for like crazy amounts of properties, that's not really happening.
And it's situational specific. So This is a great example. I just had a conversation with my buyers in Arcadia 3 days ago. And he had a conversation with a luxury flip person who said it's a great time to sell your house and up purchase. I think his house, let's say $500,000, pretty decent house in lower Arcadia sort of area. She thought it would be smart to go buy $750,000 on a remodel or something like that, and maybe get some equity from somebody that's trying to offload quickly because inventory's not moving. He said, well, what I'm probably he's a pilot. What I'll probably do is I'll go rent in Denver because he's based out of Denver with Southwest Airlines. I'll go rent in Denver for at least a year, maybe 2, wait for the market to pull back, and then buy. So I said, all right, let's do some math. How much is it going to cost you to sell your house? Let's just say on average 7%. 6% for some commissions, and then miscellaneous, worst case scenario, repairs, title fees, closing costs, appliances, etc. So you lose 7% there on $500,000, let's call it. So $35,000 right off the top. Just gone. Missed, totally poof. Then he goes and rents in Denver, right? So you got to rent in Denver. Probably $2,000 a month for a little 1-bedroom house where he wants to be. So even if it's just a year, it's $24,000 out the window because it's rent. Okay, so he lost $24,000 there. He lost that amount on just the sale. Now over that time frame, he loses out on a couple of things: appreciation. So let's say it appreciates at 4%, pretty small number. And if Arcadia pulls back, let's call it 3%. Why not? So Arcadia appreciates 3% over a year. House is worth $500 now, be $515 in a year. So another $15,000 in appreciation lost. On top of that, you lose down on your mortgage pay down. So over that year, he would have paid down his mortgage. Call it another, I don't know, $8,000, something like that. Pretty remedial because he just bought. So another $8,000. Then you lose out on appreciation. Now you lose out on your tax write-offs. So all of your taxes are write-offs. It's probably another $4,000 and it just write-offs. So very quickly it adds up to a $100,000 decision in 1 year, pretty quick, maybe 50, 75, whatever.
And then you're just gambling at that point.
Totally gambling on speculation.
What's going to happen? Speculation, what a rate's going to do.
Exactly. And then so if you go repurchase again, now you have to get a new loan. So now your new loan's going to charge you fees off the top. So now you got $6,000 in closing, whatever. Now you have to pay more. So let's say if it doesn't get pulled back, now you're paying more for a house because you lost out on appreciation. So you're paying 3% more plus you lost the 3%. So that's just a 6% swing in appreciation. It's the numbers of trying to guess and go off of somebody's idea of what might happen in a certain area over time. And one of the hottest real estate markets in Arizona is one of the biggest financial idiotic things you can do that I can think of. I mean, and I only make money if he wants to sell his house. And I'm telling the guy, don't sell your house. This is crazy talk. It's not like, and that's his situation. So if somebody came to me and said, listen, here's the deal. We had 2 kids. We just had twins. We need a bigger house. Totally different scenario. He's a single guy trying to roll the dice and play the market. What are you talking about? This is crazy talk. Mm-hmm. So it's all situational based. But for buying and just renting for a month, the amount of money that you can lose, if people did the math, they'd throw up in their mouth. That's how impactful it can be. The amount of people that can reach in and just grab your equity and your money and your fees and your tax write-offs and your interest and your principal pay down, appreciation in a year. And that's a year. No one's going to do it for a year. They'll probably sit tight for 2. And then 2 years, that's where it snowballs because then appreciation is compounded. So if it only goes, now imagine if it goes up 6%. Instead of $15,000, you lose out on $30,000, and that's 1 year. Goes up another 6%. Now you're at $60,000.
Right. I mean, the numbers you used originally were very conservative.
Very conservative, yeah, and that's what I always do. Arcadia is appreciating extremely well, especially in the area he's in Lower Arcadia. So it's just educating your buyers on the decisions they're making, and sometimes it's the best one for them. But they're not going to look back in a year and go, "You didn't tell me this." I'm going to say, "Listen, you're making a horrible, horrible financial decision." But if you're a single guy and you want to rent and live in Denver for a year, totally different scenario. Just know that you're going to go live the lifestyle. It's just going to cost you $100,000. That's okay. I'm just here to educate you. Do what you want. I'd love to sell your house and make some money. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that's not what's best for him. So that's where the relational piece stands in, right?
Right.
So the agent that he was talking to was transactional. This is a great idea. You should sell your house and get a bigger one. That's fantastic. That's totally what you should do. Oh, by the way, I make money if you sell your house. Relational is, based on your situation, it's not what I would do. I'd sit tight. I'd hang tight, hold on to the house. You love your house. It's no big deal. Just rent it. Whatever you want to do with it, just keep your house. Don't sell it. Here's what it's going to cost you. He was like, man, I've never had somebody tell me to not do something that would benefit them. And 2 days later, I get a call from one of his friends. We want to buy your house, or buy a house. So that's where the relationship comes in.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I could see how that's pretty different approach in real estate. I think a lot of people would opt for that other option. Like,
it's always a good time to buy and sell.
Why aren't you wanting to sell?
Always a good time to buy and sell. It's like, what? If you're saying it's always a good time to buy and sell, you aren't having enough conversations. You're just not. Because it is not always a good time to buy and sell. It's situational dependent for each person. Their end goals may be very different than what they're saying right now. And I've counseled people on that ad nauseum. My favorite is when they buy toys or they need more space. And someone will say, man, we just bought a toy trailer, or we want to buy a toy hauler or a fifth wheel or an RV or a boat or something. We got to sell this house because we need an RV gate. We just don't have access for storage. Okay, let me explain to you the process of what happens to get an RV gate. So to get an RV gate, we need a bigger lot. To get a bigger lot, we got to be in a different neighborhood. To be in a different neighborhood, we need a different price point. So now we got to bump up your price point. Or even a third-car garage. Okay, you only need 1,500 square feet, but you want a third-car garage because you want a workshop or you want a gym or something like that.
Right.
Well, they don't make 1,500 square feet houses typically with 3-car garages. So you got to go to 2,200 square feet. So you got 700 square feet you don't need at $150, $160 a square foot or whatever it is. So let's do the math on what your office is going to cost you in the long term. So you got to spend an extra $100,000 on this house to get and then you're financing it. So now it's $200,000 over the next 30 years. So that you can work out
5x on your trailer.
Exactly. Now you see, right? So you sit down and do the math, and they go, "Oh man, this is a terrible idea." Yeah, you might as well just go buy office space or pay for storage. It's significantly cheaper. But instead, they'll start over a 30-year mortgage with a higher interest rate for square feet that they don't need in a neighborhood that they don't need to be in.
For a trailer they use
for
3
a trailer
times.
That exactly, or a boat they take out for half the season,
Right.
that they shouldn't buy anyway. That's on a 7% interest rate, and then you start doing the math, and a lot of them go, listen, This is what I do. I want to go to the lake every weekend. I want to hang out with my family. These are the memories that I want to build. The price is merely interesting for me. Totally different conversation. Perfect. At least now you know what it costs. And now you know we can move forward. And then in 5 years, you go, this was a horrible mistake. My kids don't like me anymore. They don't want to go on the boat. They're old. They just graduated from high school. Now I got to downsize. So now you see how this steamrolls very quickly into, I don't need the extra room, I don't need the extra garage, and I don't need the boat in 5 years. That 5 years is an extremely expensive mistake. But again, if that's what you want to do, then I'm not here to judge your family decisions. That's awesome. Shit, I'm going to go on the boat with you.
Yeah.
But let's not pretend like it's a good financial decision, because it's not. But that's where the emotion side comes in. So
interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's crazy how that's completely different. The way we're talking about real estate right now is completely different than the transactional base. Like
Absolutely,
the story and situational, like you said. It all depends on the situation of the person versus a realtor out there with I want to sell your house, slogan or whatever you want to call it.
So let me ask you, when you're doing your stuff, when you're doing your marketing, do you think you're transactional or relational?
Relational.
I have a great relationship. That's what I think.
Yeah, so I mean I guess that's I really value the relationships and the people that do it. It really bothers me because obviously we're not perfect. There's going to be situations that come up. We forgot a room or this or that. So we're always really trying to, preserve that relationship and always make things right. It's not we're just trying to make a quick $100 on your phone or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not about the money at all. Like it
shouldn't
about,
be, right?
It's about how can we service our clients better? How can we deliver better service? How can we better product faster, and just trying to figure out how we can make the experience. And that's one of our biggest things. That's one of my focuses right now. I know you mentioned that before, but I've been working on a new site platform since October.
You've made some changes already.
Yeah, we've made a couple of changes, not too drastic. This is going to be a pretty drastic change on our system, where our website remembers who you are. You can log in and see all your orders. You can click and get everything.
Gotcha. So it's like a portal almost, yeah.
Exactly, and you can see the status of your order, right? It's scheduled, it's on the calendar, it's scheduled for this date and time. Because I've kind of peeled back in, our communication with our customers, and a lot of it is back and forth, figuring out times, dates, confirming this, confirming that. How or like, where's my photos? The link went to spam. I want to make it easier for people to do business with this. They're wondering where their photos are at. Okay, let me log in and see. Oh, it's actually already up. Right when the link's already there, it sends you an email notification, or even
So then it's saved
text.
in the website essentially. So
and it'll save payment information. So it remembers who you are and all your. Anyway, so it's kind of a big undertaking because we're basically building it from scratch. PHP. It's a lot of coding and going back and forth. There's bugs on this. Anyways, that's all about the relationship and making it easier for people to do business.
Would it be
with us.
possible on there, just out of curiosity, to pick my photographer?
That's probably on version 2 or 3 that I'm working on.
Yeah.
So we'll have you can request certain ones, but there'll be, depending on where photographers live, it'll be zip code based, right? Okay. So we have these people that cover, but if you have, because it doesn't matter if you have a preference for this photographer that's mostly East Valley, but you have
a Scottsdale shoot or something.
Exactly, you will be able to request them because it's not a big deal for us because we own all the fleet cars. So everybody drives work vehicles. It's not like so we want to be able to accommodate the customers and the request.
So and just so you know, if this is just me, but I would pay a premium if it was an out of zip code photographer, so to speak. So if there was an assignment fee for a non, you know what I mean, like a delivery fee, I would pay for that just because I'm a relationship guy, and so I feel comfortable. Not that the other ones, I've had almost all your people come out to my listings, and I've had great.
So if you have, a lot of people have preferences, or they like how they interact with certain ones, so they'll put a request in.
But that's all I think. Right now.
It's all kind of manually done.
You guys do that well.
And then preference, yes. So that actually just. Because everybody will have their own profile in our backend, and we can easily add a field that says their preferred photographer.
So
or
based on
maybe,
availability,
maybe a 1, 2, and 3. Like I prefer this one, but if he's not available, then I prefer this.
Either of these 3 work.
Yeah, that.
Yeah,
and I think that will just make it, a better experience overall. And that's real. I mean, that's what I've been working on. Just one of my focuses of many, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's
so what are you seeing, like, agents for your business? How are you structuring the conversation with agents to use you versus the 15 emails I get a week about, hey, I'm new to the business, I saw your new listing, use me for photography?
Right. I mean, I think we just focus on the relationship and delivering on what we say. I think there's a lot of disconnect in the marketplace of people saying they're reliable, but they're not reliable. So we stick to our commitments to our customers. If you get your order in the previous business day by 5 o'clock, we can get out there the following day. It's very rare if we're unable to do that because we have so much in place, buffers. That's why I was out for a couple of shoots this last week because we're that committed to making sure that we stick to our commitments to our customers. And then the turnaround times, we do advertise, we say 1 business day turnaround times, but you're probably getting your photos back 95% of the time the same day of the shoot.
Especially if it's an early shoot.
Especially if
3 o'clock, it's always in my inbox that evening, almost always.
So that's typically, and it's just, I think there's value that you bring from a company like ours that are outside of just taking photos, right?
Yeah.
It's, working with a professional, we put them all through customer service training, and we train them up how we want the interaction to look like with the homeowners, with the agents.
That's smart.
And so you can expect, obviously you're not, everybody has different personalities, but we train for a consistent customer experience, right?
Yeah.
And then, obviously I hear about ones from time to time where, I wasn't too fond of this interaction. And we're quick on the feedback and development of our team members.
Yeah, especially if you're doing 5 or 6 shoots a day or something, it's got to be fresh to be able to address it,
Exactly. So, I think that's, I don't know, we run it like a business. There's a lot of like freelancers that'll shoot photos for $20 or whatever, or cheaper.
Yes.
But you might use them and then, they're completely booked because they're selling at $20 a pop. So can we schedule for 3 days down the road at a time that's inconvenient for your customers?
Right.
We literally look through all of our options. So when orders come in and an agent requests a specific date and time, we pretty much will go through all of our options to try to make that happen versus proposing a new time.
Yeah.
And that was happening previously, but now I've not very frequently, but I wasn't very happy about it. So everything about it is, is molding around.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I've been using you guys for a lot of years, and I could count on one hand the number of times you guys have proposed a new time.
Yeah.
Truly. So whatever you're doing on the back end,
we try. Yeah.
I don't even see it. I don't even notice it. So that's truly, you
So
guys are doing
anyways,
a great job.
that's our the big focus is to how, and then not that we're bad right now. I think we're doing great out there, but how can we make it better? How can we make it more seamless? How can you be at a listing presentation and you're just talking to them about, doing photos, video, or whatever you're going to propose, and then you just easily on the app, it knows where you're at. You just order them up right there. And then you're with a client, you can select a date and time, and your photographer's right there on it. They're not available that's where we want to be, that easy to do business with us. And anyways, it takes a while to build out.
Another question then, what are you seeing, or what would you suggest for agents? So, I mean, you have some good relationships with some of the iBuyers, you have good relations. So you hear about the interactions, you train people on interactions with homeowners and things like that. What are you seeing successful agents do, or consistent agents, or however they would define success for an agent? What would you suggest they do? What are you seeing different?
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned, it's at the end of the day bringing value to the clients, and some realtors will add value in their marketing. Some will do other value propositions. But just doing more to, I think that's big. Doing more than the average agent. It actually all depends on the agent. Like I don't always recommend agents, hey, you need to do video or all this, go 9 yards on every single one of your listings. I don't think that's smart. And then sometimes, like, I'll discourage people. Like, I wouldn't do, particularly if you really want us to do this type of more expensive on this property, we will, but I don't recommend it, you know? So it really just depends on what you're selling. The agent. Some people, they really go hard on their value proposition during their listing presentations on, we do all this, we go to the 9 yards in our marketing, and this is how we're going to get more eyeballs on your listings. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if that was the answer.
No, it is, because it makes me curious, because I never, it's not like I sit down with other agents while they're doing their listing presentation.
Right.
So it seems like in your experience,
actually,
me if I'm wrong, you've noticed some people are pretty focused. They have one template. They come in and this is what I do, and that's what they roll with. And that's interesting, because that is truly the opposite of what I do. And so it's just it's a different way to do it. And I lose listings. And then I always research who got it, and I'm like, man,
Yeah. And I don't think a template is smart. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily do that. Obviously, you can. I think it's situational on the situation, but. One thing yesterday in Tucson, I was interviewing Candy Bowen. She did $15 million her second year. She did over 50 deals her first year.
That's
75
fantastic,
last year, and she had a baby. She was pregnant. Like,
holy cow, good for her.
Like crazy.
That's fantastic.
But, she meant you have to go back and watch her show, because she mentions so many different things that she does. She's very unique and. Because you don't see too many agents like 2 years out the gate, you're already like this. She's got a moving truck with all this stuff. But, one thing that she...
What was her background? Where does she just jump right in? Is she younger? Or is she...
No, she's younger. I don't know the age. I don't want to... She might watch this.
Oh,
really? No, but anyways. But she... she's phenomenal, when you interact it. But anyways, one thing that she did mention that she does is send out pre-listing or like emails prior to arrival on, this is what you can expect. We made a custom video for her about like, hey, this is, about products, like a kind of a reel of, the services that we offer. So it just helps to kind of get them ready for when you go there for the listing presentation. They're already kind of understand which
it's a great idea. I like it. Yeah,
you're not having to start from square one. Like, oh, this is what I do. They're already kind of prepared.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
I might have you do something like that for me.
Yeah, we've done it for a couple, and we do it for
free.
What
you're going to charge?
No, we do it for free. Honestly, I don't think anybody took it.
Buy you lunch.
No, we put it out there because she asked for it, and we were going to charge her. I was like, no, let's do this. We'll do it for her for free.
Yeah.
And then we'll offer it to our customers for free, because it can benefit us as well. But I think it's a good little value piece. It's not really like, how we can help benefit agents and
I think that's a great idea.
Like a professional, we can use your own listing, your own properties that you've done stuff on, and it's a nice personalized touch that we're willing to do for any of our customers.
That's a good point. I was just curious, because like you said, if I'm not going to do aerial drone nighttime luxury shoot for a $250,000 single-story house in Gilbert with a pool,
right?
Because we're going to sell the thing in 24 hours,
sure.
And I could take cell phone pictures, and we're still going to move the thing. Demand's just too high for it,
right?
So it's trying to bring value in different ways, but
exactly,
so it just doesn't make
sense. And I think that's how agents should approach transactions. That's why I'm always like. It's more about the relationship than the transaction for us as well.
For some agents. Oh, yeah, for you too.
For me, because I'm never like, please spend $1,000 on marketing in this $250. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's a little excessive. I don't think you need to do that.
Right. Yeah, I definitely started out that way, because I needed essentially the book. I needed to be able to show people what we were capable of doing. Well, essentially you were capable, but if this is what you want, we can offer this. So that was the only reason. But outside of that, now it's. Yeah, and you guys, the problem is you take such good photography now. Even the $100 shoots that I've used on some of the lower priced houses that I know we're going to move quickly, they're still head and shoulders above the competition. So how do you justify, taking 10 more steps? It's just not smart business.
Right.
Apply your money and your efforts
there's
and
part of
energy.
it. Like, I never would, regardless, unless it's like a double wide trailer in Tonopah and you're out there because there's a travel charge and stuff.
Right.
Because the part of what you do and put yourself out there, your potential buyers and sellers are looking at how you're marketing your other properties. So what if they come across this one that you're taking crooked iPhone photos, even though
Mm-hmm.
you're going to sell it reasonably quick?
Yeah.
I think it's worth the $100 because you might scare off a $6,000 buyer or seller.
Absolutely.
Because oh my gosh,
is this
he
what
does
they
that?
do?
I can do that.
No, I'm
and
not
put it on
interested.
Zillow by myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Maybe I'll call Open Door.
Yeah.
That's where we get in trouble. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And it's so inexpensive to do it right. Just
and that
take pride in your business.
Exactly, and that's what I recommend. Obviously, people can make their own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And then if anybody ever has any questions, hey, what do you recommend on this? Some people, and I'll give them my honest opinion.
Right.
On
how do they do that?
things.
Just send you the old listing, or
they'll send me old listings, or hey, just looking for a recommendation. What would you do on this
house,
particular property? Because we've been doing it a long time. We've shot over 40,000 houses.
Are you?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
tons of houses, and so that's what we do. We see a lot of. We don't always follow up and see what was the result from doing this.
Right.
Did their days on market lower? It's still price number one. We could do all the marketing in the world,
Right.
and if you're way overpriced, it's not necessarily going to help you move that fast. But if you're priced relatively,
It's such
where
a
you
combination of
should,
all of it.
it's a combination,
Of
right?
everything, right?
So it's not like we guarantee that your house is going to sell X number of days. I hate fake statistics. That's one thing that is very common in the business that we're in. You go to a website of somebody and they're like, homes with video sell 50% faster than homes with. I'm like,
just
that
no
is made up.
data that at all backs
Like,
that up.
it's so based on
Right.
all right, who the agent is, how they're marketing it, what the price is. There's so many factors into.
you could have a house that's worth $200,000 for sale. You could price it $100,000, 50% off. But if it backs to Power Road and has 17 cats, price doesn't matter. You know what I mean? There's so many factors that come into play that it's just to say that one thing is going to do it versus another is crazy. You're a business owner. Take everything into account. Measure motivation. Understand everything that's going on. And take pride in your business.
So awesome, Chris. Well, I just looked down. We have another show coming up here, but
nice.
We'll have to have you back on because Chris is a father of two, both under 2 years old. So we got that in common. And then I wanted to talk about boxing. So on the next one,
talk about boxing.
We're going to have to talk about boxing. So if somebody watching this is interested in maybe picking another agent wants to ask you some questions, or a buyer or seller looking to buy or sell their home, how do people get a hold of you?
Cell phone, direct contact, relationship. So you will always call me. 602-561-1346. Yeah.
Awesome, Chris.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming on again. Round 3. We'll have to do a round 4.
I like it.
We'll see you guys on the next episode.